27-year-old Cole Mormon and his 3 children have been found dead in a pond, with the children still inside a vehicle at the bottom of the water. At around 7:42 p.m. on the 12th of July 2022, officers were dispatched to the 2900 block of Bluff Road in Indianapolis, Indiana, on reports of a deceased man. When officers arrived at the scene, they found a man floating in the water who was pronounced dead. Using sonar technology, the authorities discovered a car at the bottom of the pond. The 2009 black 4-door Saab was pulled from the water at 1:42 a.m. that night, and investigators found 3 deceased children inside. The victims were identified as 27-year-old Cole Mormon, 5-year-old Cole Mormon II, 2-year-old Kiana Holland, and 1-year-old Kyron Holland. Cole and his children were last seen at 11 p.m. on the 6th of July, along the 1000 block of South Sherman Drive. He had told his family that he was taking his kids night fishing. His phone was last active in the area at 12:48 p.m. on the 7th of July. Autopsies are still pending to determine the cause and manner of their deaths. 24-year-old David Hamilton is behind bars after he allegedly ran over a group of women with a car before crashing the vehicle into a house and fleeing the scene. The incident occurred at around 3 a.m. on the 10th of July 2022. When officers responded to a call at 495 Dubuque Street in Manchester, New Hampshire. When an officer arrived at the scene and got out of his vehicle, he approached a group of 20 people when he saw David get into a car and start driving in reverse towards some women. He struck the women as well as the parked car and continued driving in reverse until he ran the women over. He then drove away from the scene, even after an officer ordered him to stop multiple times. 3 women were taken to the Elliott Hospital with serious injuries. David then drove his car into a house on Wayne Street and ran away on foot. Deputies found a small dog inside his car. David was later apprehended and faces charges of second-degree assault, disobeying a police officer, conduct after an accident, and cruelty to animals. The investigation into the matter continues. 23-year-old Cameron Gamage and 18-year-old Layla Pearson have been charged in connection to the death of their 8-month-old son. The incident occurred at 12:52 p.m. on the 12th of July 2022, when the authorities responded to a residence in the Brady Station apartment complex located along East 52nd Street in Odessa, Texas, on reports of an unresponsive infant. When first responders arrived, they found a deceased baby inside the apartment. Officers noted that the child had heavy bruising and swelling to the left side of his face and head. There were also multiple smaller bruises along the top of his skull. Officers noted finding dog feces on the floor and an otherwise disheveled apartment. Both Cameron and Layla admitted to trying to clean up the mess prior to their arrival. While interviewing Layla, she said that she fed the baby approximately 5 a.m. that morning and then fell back to sleep. She woke at approximately noon and found the child was not breathing. She then frantically attempted to wake Cameron up, but he seemed to be uncaring and took several minutes to get up and help. When he finally approached her to help, she said Cameron still seemed uncaring. Layla asked Cameron to call 911 and began CPR in accordance to the 911 dispatcher's instructions, but they were unable to revive the baby. Sometime after he called 911, Layla said that Cameron became apologetic towards her and told her he hoped she wasn't mad at him. Layla told police that Cameron has extreme anger issues and recently killed several dogs by strangulation. In the aftermath of the baby's death, investigators noted that Cameron appeared to be apathetic at the scene, saying he remained unemotional and seemed to lack care about the incident throughout their contact. Cameron and Layla were then brought back to the police station for additional questioning. In a follow-up interview at the station, Cameron told investigators that he had been smoking weed that morning while Layla was asleep, and that he last saw his son alive between 5:30 a.m. and 6 a.m. before he too went back to sleep. When questioned about the bruises on the infant's head, Cameron said the injury came from the infant hitting his head on the hard portion of the interior of a crib. After further questioning, Cameron admitted that he had extreme anger issues and had been dealing with a lot of stress lately, including the infant frequently crying. Cameron admitted that he recently strangled 2 dogs to death and attempted to dispose of their bodies to avoid getting into trouble. Cameron also admitted that 3 days prior to his son's death, on the evening of the 9th of July, he woke up to his son crying at approximately 10 p.m. He said he went to go to play with the child and began tossing the infant in the air and then catching him. He said he became frustrated that the infant would not stop crying. He said he accidentally dropped the infant after about the 4th toss, which caused the infant to land on his left side. He said the infant hit the floor hard when he landed. He said the bruising and swelling on the infant's face and head began after that, but didn't want to tell Layla in fear of getting into trouble. Cameron said the infant began acting unusual over the next couple of days, and when he saw the infant unresponsive, his initial thought was something like he killed his kid. Layla admitted to noticing the injuries to her son, and that the baby became more fussy in the days that followed, but said she did not seek medical attention because she thought the boy was just teething. In addition to charges in connection with his son's death, a grand jury indicted Cameron on the 19th of May, with 1 count of lewd assault against a 15-year-old child that took place between 2019 and 2020. Cameron is charged with capital murder, and is currently held at the Ector County Jail on a $350,000 bond. If convicted, he faces life in prison. Layla was charged with criminal negligence and was released from the Ector County Jail on a $5,000 bond. If she is convicted, she faces up to 2 years behind bars. Cameron's cousin, 27-year-old Brittany Pruitt, said Cameron is facing the lewd assault count because he became involved with Layla while she was a minor. She described Cameron as an outgoing, funny man who loved his son. Up to the time he lost his job 4 to 6 weeks ago, he worked hard to provide everything he could for him, she said.